Interpreting Sessho-seki. I was inspired just recently by someone who had commented on one of my videos just recently about the killing stone of Japan, in which she had encouraged me to continue to talk about it. And I thought to myself, well, what could I talk about since I'm here in Washington, D.C., and obviously Sessho-seki is in Nasu, Japan, where it just recently, in fact, this past Monday, split into two, and the rope that was tied around it was found literally in between the two stones. And I realized at that point that there is something that I can talk about, because it is something that I kept saying in my last two videos. By the way, if you like the kinds of stories that I tell and the things that we talk about here on this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. If you watch my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that notification bell so you know that my videos are coming. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to that goal of 1,000 subscribers, so anything that you can do to help me out, greatly appreciated. So back to this story. As the man who knows, I'll oftentimes interpret certain things symbolically. So, for instance, like a tarot reader might interpret the fall of certain tarot cards, or an I Ching reader might interpret the fall of coins. What I'm going to try to do is interpret the way the fall of, or the splitting and the fall of Sessho-seki actually took place. So let's see if we can actually take a moment to read into the crack of Sessho-seki. So the first thing that I'm going to say is that it was a perfect separation of two parts. So literally the stone didn't break up into several parts. It was literally just two big parts that split into two. And so my way of looking at that, and in fact the smaller piece actually rolled downhill slightly, so there was a perfect separation of the two parts. And that being said, in the world of numerology, that would be interpreted as man's loss of connection. Okay, so basically, also the rope was separated from the actual stone. So there was a rope that was part of the setup of that stone. Now they say that there are noxious gases that are emitted from the stone. I don't know how true that is, or exactly what those gases are, if that's the case. But I will say that the fact that the rope that was around it that sort of kept you from going near it and touching it, because they say if you touch it, you die. That rope was literally, if you look at the picture that is in my thumbnail, it's literally right in between the two rocks. So it's a perfect separation of the two halves of the stone plus the rope separated right in between. So that's just kind of interesting. And to me, if I were to interpret that symbolically, I would say that this is basically boundless uncertainty. So it's not looking real good, right? It's almost like, and really, if you also look at that hollowed out, or if you look at the larger stone of the two stones, it looks kind of like it's hollowed out, almost as if perceptually there was like some kind of spirit inside there. Now, obviously, it's probably that part of the hollowed out part is part of the other stone. But because you can perceptually see this almost like hollowed out stone from the path that you're walking up towards looking at that stone, you can say that that maybe, you can interpret that some spirit entity somehow released itself from that area. And so that being said, I'm just going to say that that would represent to me a negative perception. So basically you're looking at the negative hollowed out area as opposed to the positive part that's actually the part that fills that fills that crack. So to me, I feel like that's significant because it, again, doesn't say anything good. It's basically saying that there's a negative perception to the overall read of the situation. So not only do we have man's loss to connection, we also have boundless uncertainty, and we have a complete negative connection. Furthermore, the congruency to the actual myth or legend of Tamamano-me actually makes it appear very accurate. So basically, when you take the story of Tamamano-me and the demon spirit, and you realize the rock has separated out and created this illusion, if you will, of the spirit being released, especially in congruence to the historical time that we're living in right now, where we are living under the threat of war and violence, and things are happening that don't seem exactly right now. And so with all of that in mind, things are kind of not looking very good, right? But as the man who knows, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of hope right now, because it's a perfect time to bring back a wisdom that I brought to you on one of the past Sunday wisdoms, and that would be the Tao of Yi, the teaching of the I Ching, which is basically about the pendulum swing, another thing that we've been talking about here on this channel. And that is that when situations proceed beyond their extremes, they alternate to their opposite. That is the Tao of Yi. That is where we're at. I have lived my life at a time in which that situation proceeded so far into the negatives that I wondered just if this was the way it all ended. And fortunately, I've lived past it. So I can say that there is hope on the other side. When situations proceed beyond their extreme, they alternate to their opposite. My name's Alain Nu. I'm the man who knows. That's my interpretation of Sessho-seki. I hope you've enjoyed that little interpretation this Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you tomorrow with real life stories of the impossible. Peace.